The reality is they're not having sex because they can't get sex, and then they use the semen retention as an excuse. Semen retention is a lie, okay? It's a fucking lie. You guys on the internet.
Okay. All right. First of all, pause, because he was saying, yeah, I'm carrying all the seed in me. Hey, yo, Mr. Locario, you got to get a check on that. That's crazy. Guys, Summer Del Piso back once again with yet another Summer Reacts. Guys, let's get right into it. Like, comment, subscribe. Of course, we have the Patreon, the free Patreon, which has my weekly newsletter where I talk about various topics following the MLA English essay writing format, right? Check it out. And then we also have the other side where we have exclusive interviews, videos, and whatnot. The link's going to be in the description for them both. You can check them both out at your own leisure. But without further ado, let's get into this interesting video. A solid person of the channel, Rich Wealthy, when I live streamed months ago, he gave me this video and was saying, Sombra, you should consider this. And I was like, absolutely not. Like, everything this guy is saying is a lie, this and that. But of course, as I sort of develop more and more on the practice of semen retention, coming into contact with a lot of people online that have their various opinions about semen retention, maybe due to their independent findings or due to one person telling them how to believe semen retention should be. His words sort of ring a little bit and resound a little bit louder, right, to me. So let's check this out, guys. Like I said, like, comment, subscribe. We're going to get right into it. This guy is Mr. Locario. I think he's essentially, I don't know much about him, really. I think he's a dating coach. I don't think that we need dating coaches, honestly. If you guys need one, I don't know what to tell you. I think that one should try to speak to, if you're interested in a woman, try to talk with her and communicate, ask questions. If she doesn't tell you the truth or you feel like she's withholding information in regard to a question, then just go somewhere else. I don't know. The scarcity mindset is killing all of us men here in the United States, but that's neither here or there. He's essentially a dating coach, I think. I used to work at this bar at 34th Street. I saw him there once with maybe his girlfriend. I don't know. But yeah, he has a lot to say about semen retention. We're going to get right into it now. Let's check it out.
Oh, yo, what's poppin'? What's going on? It's your boy, Mr. Locario, the bad boy of the motherfucking dating game. What's good, people? What's poppin' with you?
So he is the dating game. So I'm guessing he is a dating coach.
In this video, I want to talk about how semen retention is a lie, okay? It's a fucking lie. You guys on the internet who think that, you know, by doing semen retention, you're going to have some superpowers. You know, it's going to make your life amazing. You're going to be like, oh my God, I'm learning the secrets of the universe because I'm not letting my seed go. You understand what I'm saying? Now, what you have to understand about that is this, right? Is that you have a lot of guys out here who practice semen retention, right? Because they're really just coping, right? So I hear guys say, you know, well, I'm not jerking off or I'm not having sex because I'm retaining my seed, because if I have the seed in me, then that means that, you know, I'm carrying all of this extra crazy life force in me, and that's going to make me do amazing things.
Okay. All right. First of all, pause, because he was saying, yeah, I'm carrying all the seed in me. Hey, yo, Mr. Locario, you got to get a check on that. That's crazy. But I think I agree with him to some degree when it comes to the coping part. I'm going to talk about why I disagree with him first, though, because semen retention, as we guys know, we have way too many personal anecdotes, contrary to what scientists and medical field says about retaining your semen for a long period of time. We have a lot of anecdotes of successful semen retention stories. Guys were on semen retention for months on end. I had my personal practice for a year, and I felt a lot of benefits. I felt stronger in the gym. I felt much more social, less anxious, less hungry as well. And I felt like I had way more energy. I was thinking very, very clearly and quickly. So there are benefits for sure to semen retention, because there are a lot of other people with their personal anecdotes that have spoken about the same benefits, right? Also, but I'm going to go to where I agree with him on this point, where a lot of people use semen retention as a cope, right? And what he's saying is, I guess, in regards to actually experiencing life. Life is about spontaneity. Life is about the interconnection of the genders, right? And just people chatting with each other. I think people use semen retention, of course, or use the excuse of semen retention in order to deal with the storm, the crazy chaos that is uncontrollable, that is life, right? Semen retention, I found myself, the more I practiced it a lot, and I still practice it, of course, because it's definitely a very, very powerful practice. All men should be practicing semen retention. It's just that I found myself being locked in a cage of ideology, and that was, and I would, there was a part of me also that also wanted to talk with people, that share people, and enjoy experiences with people. But a lot of what I believed held me back from that, especially in regards to what I believed these new thoughts were coming about due to my practice of semen retention. He definitely has a point for sure. I think a lot of people, especially in this online space, are talking about like you have to hold in your semen for God knows how long. And I agree with holding it in for a period of time, but there is so much that you can learn through chatting with someone else, through sharing experiences with someone else. I tried my best to go out and ask people what they thought about semen retention and celibacy in general, and I've gotten not similar answers to him, but a lot of, counter arguments saying that the whole idea of life is to share that energy with other people, which I agree to some degree, which I agree with some degree. There needs to be a control. I think there needs to be a moderation, for sure. I think the biggest problem, however, is not necessarily not being on semen retention or using semen retention to cope, but the indulgence of adult film content. I think that pollutes the brain. It sort of accelerates our dopamine receptors to produce too much dopamine. What that does is that it stops men from going out to pursue ambitious tasks. For sure. I agree 100%. I think that a lot of us should stay away from adult film content. All of us should. All of us. Let's keep going.
Now, let me tell you, from a man like myself, who has had sex with lots of women, who has sex on a consistent basis, and who's jerked off a lot, right? I have crazy energy. You understand what I'm saying?
I think that's an exception. Guys, I don't think that we should be jerking off. I don't think men should be jerking off. Dead serious. I think if we are on the fence about semen retention, at least sleep with a woman. Do not jerk off. Do not look at adult film content. Honestly, the optimal position is to be on semen retention completely. For sure. I think that it's just a case-by-case basis, with, especially in regards to that. Because that I don't know. I just know how I feel every time I relapse, and it's really bad. I feel tired. I feel thirsty. I feel like I need to eat so much food. The gym, all the weights in the gym are much heavier. Conversations don't come out as fluid. I'm telling you, it is not placebo. Especially in regards to how many people share the same experience.
I've never been in a situation where I'm like, man, I can't think straight. I'm tired. I can't do anything because I've been jerking off. I've been busting nuts. You feel what I'm saying? Now, this is the funny part. Guys will say, well, I'm not fucking and I'm not, doing that type of shit because I'm on semen retention. But you can actually still have sex if you're on semen retention, right? Because all semen retention mean is that you are retaining the seed. You're not basically busting a nut. So you can actually have sex.
No, okay, so it doesn't seem like he's researched what semen retention really is. Everyone doesn't recommend that because that's essentially edging. That's one, if you have sex without releasing. And two, that's horrible on the prostate. And horrible for the practice, and horrible for celibacy. It's horrible for your health because when you're having sex and you're not releasing, you are basically haphazardly using the reproductive system, a fraction of it. The reproductive system is meant to, especially in terms of males, if you're having sex, if you go into that mode, you have to release. If you do not release, there's going to be a lot of backup, there's going to be a lot of issues. And I think this is what leads to a lot of prostate cancers. The fact that people they take the semen retention route and then they believe that they could walk the two roads and they're having sex and they're not releasing. This is horrible. Absolutely horrible. There's tantra, but tantra goes into something a little deeper. It has to do with awareness as well, not necessarily having sex without releasing.
And still not bust a nut. The problem is that you have guys out here who have a hard time getting sex, and therefore they use the semen retention as an excuse, right? To say, well, I'm not, it's like, they want to say, I'm not having sex because I'm on semen retention. But what the reality is, they're not having sex because they can't get sex, and then they use the semen retention as an excuse. And then they do all this super magical, mystical power shit to make it seem like more than it is. They come with this no fap nonsense. Oh, well, I'm not going to jerk off. I'm not going to do all this other stuff because, I feel different. I feel like, I'm getting the wonders of the world in my mind because I'm retaining the seed. It's a bunch of nonsense.
I don't know if he did some research. I'm not going to lie. He probably did some surface level research on the movements, no fap, no nut November, semen retention, as these things are known in the mainstream. But I don't know if he went a little deeper than that. He is correct on some point where a lot of men do use semen retention as a cope, for sure. The fact that, I'm not talking to women because I'm on semen retention. I'm not doing this because I'm on semen retention. I do the same thing. I'm not coping. I actually fight to not go all the way with some of the women that I speak with, even though the routes are are clear and made open, just because I know about the benefits of semen retention. I will not be deadlifting close to 500 pounds if it were not for semen retention. 100%. So I fight myself to not go all the way with some women. Dead serious, because I know that the debilitation comes in very, very, very quickly once you release. I understand that. But he is right. A lot of us are on the online space. A lot of us males have like this animosity towards women. For sure. Maybe it's because of the feminization of the young male, especially in the United States. Maybe it's due to the heavy amount of gynocentric policies that are passed in government that are really just to benefit the female at the expense of the male. And so they use semen retention as a way to indirectly broadcast their ideology. Yeah, for sure. Of course. I think for that, I don't think that there should be a blanket statement made about all women in regards to this, because they're people as well. They have souls, they have minds, they have experiences. They brush their teeth, they brush their hair. They're interested in going to Kate Spade. I guess I don't know, but they're individuals at the end of the day, and I think that not trying to communicate with them at all is something completely counteractive to being an individual in life. Seriously, you have to speak. You have to try to connect with people, male or female. That's what I believe.
You see what I'm saying? See, what happens is that a lot of these dudes, they're just coping, right? They are in situations where they think that they are better than someone else because they're like, look at how disciplined I am. I'm not going to bust a nut. Look at how disciplined I am. I'm not going to have sex. And therefore, because I'm not doing these things, I'm just superhuman. I'm not like the rest of you humans out here. I have this great discipline by me not busting nuts and doing all this other crazy shit, right? But again, it's all a cope. You understand? Because what happens is, in their mind, they want to believe that they're doing something magical. That now they are smarter, brighter, more, aware of things because of keeping the seed inside.
He's not okay. He's definitely not doing his research, for sure. Because we all know, like, if you really practice semen retention, you really get like an advanced, like, seriously, I wouldn't have learned Spanish if it weren't for semen retention. I wouldn't be performing as well as I do in the gym if it weren't for semen retention. My life wouldn't have gotten together if it wasn't for this practice of semen retention. Seriously. And I definitely recommend it to a lot of other folks, and I try to give a lot of advice, especially in my consultations, by incorporating semen retention in your habits, in your duties, your responsibilities, in order to try to be a bit more self-aware, because that's what that does. That's the natural state. We're not supposed to be splurging everywhere. We're not supposed to be jerking off. The reproductive system is meant to transfer the seed in order to cause reproduction, right? It's not meant for recreational use. And the more that sex is used in that way, there's going to be penalties. People are going to face penalties. You may hear this, Mr. Locario. I was about to call him Lucario, like the fighter. Like the fighting Pokemon. But I don't think he did a lot of research regarding it. I don't think he's practiced it personally. I think that it probably does dangers to his business if more men practice semen retention, because he's trying to, he's a dating coach. He wants to advise people essentially to keep dating so they can have sexual success. And sexual success lies on the opposite spectrum of practicing of semen retention. Granted, I think that people should. I agree with him to the point where people should understand why they're practicing semen retention and don't cast themselves or exalt themselves higher than others that they believe are not doing semen retention just because it may have been difficult for them to get on the practice and they're getting all of these benefits and they feel like they're much more aware than other people and as a result more powerful. I agree 100%. And there's a lot of people in this space that they're not good at talking to women at all. Like they don't know what to do, how to function, what to say. They get very, very awkward. And so a lot of these guys use semen retention as a cope to not deal with that, which I understand. I don't personally understand it because I speak to anybody, but I do understand where he's coming from with that.
No, your seed is supposed to come outside of you. You understand what I'm saying? You're supposed to fuck and use your seed to get women pregnant. Now, a person might say, well, why are you jerking off? You understand what I'm saying? Now, that's a good question. See, the thing is this, even though your seed is for that purpose, right? You as a individual and a human being
An individual.
and a God, you can choose how you want to do your thing. But what you have to understand is that
You see, the problem is he believes in the individual. He doesn't believe in a higher power. And that's the problem. I think this video also highlights the prevalence of godlessness in the West. A lot of us stop believing in God because we have to see to believe. A lot of us seldom have faith because faith implies long-term belief without any sort of instant gratification, instant reward for your actions. Solely a belief by truly understanding and understanding that what you're doing is correct. And so this guy is preaching a lot of godlessness. He exalts the individual above God, above the objective reality. This from what he's saying. That's it. You could just deduce it. Why would you hold in your seed? Right? There's no point. Even though all the religious texts never agreed on anything except that one thing about holding in your seed. Why is it that you need to hold in your seed? He hasn't done any research at all, and I think he's a little too deep in the mire of sexual pleasure in order to get something done, to actually practice semen retention for a long period of time without any seeming benefit.
that when you bust a nut, you're going to create more nuts. So what the fuck are you guys worrying about all of this nonsense? You see what I'm saying? So a lot of you guys out there, stop fucking wasting time trying to cope. This shit is not what you think it is. You're listening to guys on the internet telling you not to touch your dick. Listen to guys on the internet telling you not to fuck when you know you want to fuck. And what you're doing is that you're using this semen retention shit to cover up the fact that you have no game. To cover up the fact that you want sex, but you can't get it. It's really that simple.
I want to see the comments. But he's not completely wrong though. A lot of us really live our lives solely on the internet, and we try to find a justification for why things are the way they are. I used to fall in that same thing until very recently I sort of took my head out of the sand and decided to just take the scepter of my life into my hand and walk forward into the dark wilderness. That is the beginning of Inferno. I'm making a Dante Divine Comedy reference. But seriously, a lot of us just don't know how to be social. We don't know how to talk to people. We don't know how to engage, let alone, a lot of us males, let alone engage with the opposite sex in a platonic way. And so we find ways to justify not trying to interact with them. And we use things like semen retention. It's absolutely crazy. The fact that one can believe that you could be successful in this world without the help of other people, let alone without the help of a woman, is actually kind of insane. And I used to believe that to a certain degree, but then I don't know, I just sort of realized something. You always used to blame, oh, this is the reason why I don't have a job, this is the reason why this happens, this. And then in reality, it's really my mindset towards a lot of these things. It's really my mindset towards a lot of these things that have led to why I'm getting the results that I'm getting. not in regards to dating, but just in life. Semen retention is important, but I believe that we need to, of course, super important, paramount to success in general. But I think that we need to get into it for the correct reasons. And I think that if we get into it for the wrong reasons, then we are not going to get the rewards and the benefits from the practice that were intended. That's what I have to say. Let me just see what the comments say over here. He's like, oh, it's pinned by him, so obviously he's going to be a bit biased towards his point. Yeah, I agree with this. I attempted it thinking that it was going to make more women attracted to me, but it didn't change anything. Women had still a level of attraction. I did have more energy, but that was it. You will get more energy, for sure. Also, you're not supposed to get on semen retention for the sake of attracting women, because it's just not going to work. I don't think that works with anything. That's how sort of the law of attraction works, which is based on metaphysical laws, right, to some degree. Also, there are ways to practice. You have to get to a point in semen retention where you're not dwelling on having sex constantly, or at all for that matter. You let that energy that builds up day by day by day, because what Mr. Locario failed to talk about is spermatogenesis, which is the maturation of the sperm cells after 90 days of it remaining in your body, not being released. He didn't mention that though. I think it's 60 or 90 days, or 60 to 90 days, something like that. But when you do that, you are getting more energy. The testosterone that is maintained in the body is going to remain at a high level. There's truth to semen retention, for sure. He said, someone said, bro, Locario, you speak out of ignorance and purely because you are not disciplined enough to see it through. SR works. I know where I was and where I am now because I practice SR with my spiritual life. Yeah, for sure. I agree as well. He's very, very ignorant on it. I think he's seeing it on a basic level of suppression as opposed to transmutation of the force due to not dwelling on sex and accelerating the function of the reproductive system, but rather having that energy work for you and transmute into higher thinking, higher levels of perception and awareness. Of course, he's not going to talk about these sort of things. He's just interested in keeping you guys on the low frequency. The whole point of NoFap SR shouldn't be for women. To me, it's more of a self-discipline thing. A lot of dudes have women and still practice SR when they can. You do get more energy, mind clarity from it. I personally know, but doing it just for attraction is a lame. That's the part I do not agree on. I agree. Oh, that's the part I do agree on, for sure. And that's the same thing I say as well. If you do it for attraction, you're not going to get any of the benefits. But also, on the flip side, if you're doing it as a way to escape the tumultuous maelstrom that is the perpetual successive moment of life, then you are doing it for the wrong reasons, and you're going to have a lot of not the best experiences. So with that being said, that is all I have to say about this today. If you guys enjoy that kind of content, like, comment, subscribe, share the video with some peers. I got the Patreon up and running. Check it out. The free content and the paid content down. Going to be the link to both of which is going to be down in the description below underneath the video. So guys, I hope you enjoyed that a lot, because I thought it was a very, very interesting take, because I'm not a fan of echo chambers. I don't think that we should remain with an ideal and not look at the counter argument to it, or look at all of the things that are being said about it. This is a good video. It opened some eyes, but at the end of the day, he really explored it on a very, very basic level. I don't think he referenced any examples of it being practiced in Hinduism, Buddhist examples, how Jesus promoted it in the book of Matthew, so on and so forth. So, it's definitely lent. It was a very, very good brain tickle. I will see you guys in the next one. Stay radiant. Peace. Woo!